Hello and welcome to another video on this channel. In the last video, we saw the first of the new factors that come into play to affect the scheduling of diversity visa interviews in the current context of the diversity visa program. And in that video, I announced that in another video, we would have the opportunity to consider the two systems that have been applied in the diversity visa program since the program was established some years back. So this is that video that draws a comparison between the regional queue system and the embassy queue system. Now let's begin with the first of those queue systems. The regional queue system is the original system that was put in place and that the diversity visa program was governed by from its establishment up to COVID-19. Now, this is how that system worked. DS-260s that were submitted to KCC under the regional queue system were processed and placed in a single queue or a single line in ascending order, that is beginning with the lowest case number up to the highest case number. And because it is on this system that the diversity visa program was built, that is why you have diversity visa case numbers to be coded according to region and not by country. So for example, you have the Africa region case number AF1, AF2, AF3 up to the highest case number, although there are vacant case numbers in their midst. In the Europe region, you have case number EU1, EU2, and so on up to the highest case number, and that goes for all the other regions. This meant that you had cases from different countries in the same region in that one queue. Now, another particularity about the regional queue system is that whenever a case submitted their DS-260 and that DS-260 or those DS-260s were processed, the case in question was placed in the queue according to their case number. So if you had a case with case number 100, for example, from any region that did not submit their DS-260 immediately after the results of the diversity visa lottery were released, whenever during the fiscal year that case submitted their DS-260 and that DS-260 or those DS-260s were processed, case number 100 was placed before case number 101 in the regional queue system. So with the regional queue system, low case numbers were always prioritized over high case numbers. Another important aspect of the regional queue system is that every month when the visa bulletin was released, KCC began to schedule cases from the beginning of the queue. So this caused cases with low case numbers that submitted their DS-260s later in the fiscal year to be prioritized over cases with higher case numbers that submitted their DS-260 early on in the fiscal year. It is based on this regional queue system that the diversity visa program functioned until COVID-19. And in the last video, I explained that the reality of COVID-19 was not the same in all locations, and as a result of that, the State Department left it at the discretion of the various embassies and consulates to decide concerning how they operated. So you had embassies interviewing diversity visa cases in one location, whereas in another location, there were no interviews being conducted for diversity visa cases, and in other locations, only a few cases were being interviewed. And in such circumstances, KCC was obliged to break up the regional queues into queues by embassy, reflecting the reality of each embassy. So with this new system, you no longer have cases from all countries in a region in a single queue. Each case is put in the queue of the embassy where it is supposed to be interviewed. And so that is one reason why we have high case numbers being scheduled for interview ahead of cases with low case numbers in the current context of the diversity visa program. And that also explains why cases scheduled at some embassies hardly get interviewed, whereas at other embassies, cases are being scheduled for interview on a regular basis. Now, remember while speaking about the regional queue system, I indicated that whenever a case submitted their DS-260 and that DS-260 or those DS-260s were processed, they were placed in the regional queue according to their case number. That put low case numbers ahead of high case numbers in the regional queue. In the case of the embassy queue, things happen differently. When a case submits its DS-260s and those DS-260 or that DS-260 is processed, that case is not introduced within the queue. It is introduced at the end of the queue. And that explains why at the same embassy, it is possible to have two cases already processed, but the higher case number gets interviewed ahead of the lower case number. This is another effect of the embassy queue system that was introduced in the diversity visa program because of COVID-19. It is because of this change or transition from the regional queue system to the embassy queue system that it becomes difficult to make predictions in the diversity visa program, as I have been explaining for some time now. So to those of you who continue to ask questions concerning your chances, concerning when you will be scheduled for interview, concerning when your interview will be conducted, and other questions relating to predictions, as well as those of you who are confused as to why so far your case has not yet been scheduled for interview, this is a major reason for all of that. So that is the difference between how the diversity visa program was run before COVID-19 and how the program is being run since COVID-19. And that brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching it. See you very soon in the next one, God willing. Until then, goodbye.